This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, welcoming you to another informative episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 326. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're going to head down to Florida and talk with Bryan Richey. Bryan and his family are the inventors and owners of Moon Stands. Simple concept, folks. How many times have you pivoted, had a buck right behind you, and you couldn't reach him simply because no place to put your foot? Your foot was hanging out in space. Well, if it's ever happened to you, Bryan's got a solution, and he's going to talk about hunting mature bucks from his Moon Stands. It's never too early to think about food plots. Whitetail Rendezvous has an ebook for you. Just simply text 33444 food plot to get your copy. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're heading down to Florida, and we're going to connect with Bryan Richey. Bryan is the founder and owner of Moon Stands. You haven't heard about it yet much, but you're sure going to. Bryan, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Bruce. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, and it's going to be a snowy day. I live out in Colorado, and we got snow coming over the mountains. So we've had 50-degree weather. Now the bottom's going to drop out. We're going to get some snow, but life is grand in Colorado.
There you go. Bundle up.
Oh, heck yeah. And I'm excited to hear about the launch of Moon Stands and give my listeners what's different about this product. So let's spin back to, the genesis or the beginning of Moon Stands. And why don't you share that with our listeners?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's probably about 3.5 years ago. My dad was actually hunting on some public land here in Central Florida, and he had a buck come out directly behind him, and the deer fed for 30 minutes, and while he was sitting there on the traditional hang-on tree stand he was hunting out of, he just kept looking around the edge of the tree, and he looked down there at the platform that he was standing on, and he said, man, if I could just put my foot, and he pointed right over the edge where there was no platform support down there, and said, if I could just put my foot right there, I'd be able to shoot that deer. So he actually got down out of the tree, still had probably an hour and a half of light left, but headed back towards the house. He called my brother up, and they went to work on figuring out a way to be able to shoot 360 degrees off of the hang-on tree stand. I showed up shortly after that and was looking at them out there engineering and bending steel and putting this together, and asked them what they were doing. And he said, we're going to be able to shoot behind the tree. I had that buck come out, and I wasn't able to get a shot at him. I said, well, that's an easy fix. Let's just move your stand to the other side of the tree, and kind of look at me like, no, smart Alex, we've got to do some type of functionality where it's going to end up making the overall hunting experience better, because I'm going to be able to shoot at those animals that are coming up behind that I haven't had the opportunity to do that. So that was 3.5 years ago. We're just launched with our first model to go to market, and it is our 12th version. So we've done a lot of research, design through the development stage of making sure that we came to market with a stand that's functional, works, it's safe, and something that we can put our name behind.
Now, I got a picture of it. You sent a picture of the bio. So it's basically 180 degrees. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we've got two different models. The one that you're looking at there is our half moon model. It spans 48 inches wide. And then our quarter moon doesn't have the outer wings, and it has a 36-inch wide platform. And to give the listeners kind of a perception of what the traditional hang-on stand width is you typically see anything between an 18 to 20. There are some 24, a couple 30-inch wide platforms, but the biggest platform widths that you typically have in the traditional hang-on market are only right at like 20 to 22 inches wide. So you're standing on that, and anybody who's been elevated off the ground and having to move to position to be able to take that shot, I don't know how large your feet are, but whenever I'm up there with just my size 11 boots on, my toes could end up hanging over the edge, and it's putting my heels together while I'm moving around on that shorter platform. And then by not being able to stand out to the side limits how I'm taking the shots as well as where I'm able to shoot at.
Now I'm looking at the picture, your bio picture, and I can't see the seat. I'm assuming because there's a bracket going up, there is a seat on it.
Yep. We've got a seat. It follows the same shape and design as the platform, so it's round. And we didn't come up with the seat design with the comfort factor that we were thinking of. It was kind of a byproduct that we ended up designing a seat that was extremely comfortable. We came up with a seat design just because we wanted it to follow the same shape as the platform, being that curved shape. And what ended up happening after hunting off of it for the last 2 years, I put it up against any of the other seats that are out there on the market. With that curved shape, it doesn't cut into your circulation as much, and it makes for a lot more comfortable sit whenever you're sitting for longer periods of time.
What's the diameter tree that this stand will fit on?
It's from a 9-inch minimum up to a 22-inch maximum.
All right, that's a hefty tree, because I'm looking at the tree you got, again, on your bio. What's that, about a 9 or 10-inch diameter?
No, I believe the one that's on there is probably about 13, 14 inches in diameter.
All right. And then we got ratchet straps for the bottom. How does it clasp to the tree?
You hang it identical to the traditional hang-on stand. About 11 years ago, we started hanging all of our lock-ons with a pulley. I was hanging from the side of the tree the way that a lot of people still do, and that's one of the things that I hope I can – that's probably the biggest thing I hope I can change in the industry is there's so many hunters that go out there preseason, or if they're going out there to hunt that day and they're hanging stands and they're putting themselves in an unsafe position by holding on to a stand off the side, and then they're using their other hand to wrestle a ratchet strap.
I'm just laughing.
I tell everybody, I don't care if it's a 10-pound stand,
I don't care either.
25-pound stand, a 40-pound stand, or a 100-pound stand. You shouldn't be hanging off the side of the tree holding a ladder or holding your tree stand up to try to install it when technology's there. I think the pulley that we've been using for the last 5 years we purchased at a hardware store for like $6. So you put your climbing sticks up on the tree right above your desired height. You just put that pulley on there. You run that down to your tree stand, and then you're able to pull it up to whatever height that you want. If you want a little bit higher, you pull down the rope. A little bit lower, you go back up with it. And then all you're doing is finessing it to get it into that exact location that you want it. And then you can put your ratchet straps and cinch it down to the tree.
Yeah, I was just laughing. I've been fortunate to hunt, over 50 years, and I can remember cobbling together our own tree stands because it wasn't manufactured way back then, and then building wooden stands, blah, 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 blah. And the scariest part for me was getting my steps in and then, literally pulling that hang on up. And, I never fell, never had a problem, but, I sure tech sweated a lot. And I'm sure that resonates with a lot of people. That's why I brought it up. So here's what we got. We got a stand that you can shoot behind you, and you're not going to fall up in space. 2, with a pulley system. Now, does the pulley system come with a stand?
No, we don't have a pulley system included with it currently. That's something that we're looking at having. Right now, it's just recommended that for anybody installing a tree or installing a hang-on stand, whether it's our stand or anybody else's, go pick you up a pulley. It's going to make the installation and removal that much safer.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here saying, if you had like a 6-inch bracket, just like a camera arm, only stouter. Yep. And just ratchet, just real simple. You get the rope through it, you ratchet it in, then it pulls directly up. Then you could cinch. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with that. You could cinch it off and then manipulate the stand where you want it. And then once you get the stand up, then you can have your gear and pull your gear up.
Yep. Yeah. There's a ton of third-party like tree stand pulley systems that are on the market that even have self-locking, where when you pull the rope up, you pull your stand up to whatever height you want it, and as soon as you stop pulling, it just locks in.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, why not? Just make it part of the package. What do they sell for?
Right. Our half moon stand will retail at $259.99, and then our quarter moon is $199.
All right. Is that shipping included, or is that a little?
We do on online purchases, we have a $14.99 flat rate shipping for the lower 48. So anybody who's purchasing one, because of being an oversized box, the shipping's going to be higher. So we just have a flat rate shipping for all of our stands going out.
What does it weigh, the quarter moon and the half moon?
Quarter moon is 41.5 pounds, and our half moon is 41.5 pounds, and our quarter moon is just under 25 pounds.
All right. And, you know, if you get a quarter moon because you're going in stealth and you're moving your stand because you've been in X stand and you just see them moving, but you don't, you know, they're 100, 200 yards away. They're running the ridge. You thought they were going to come off the ridge and down into the field, but they're not doing that. So how long would it take me to, you know, do a new set with a quarter moon?
It's not going to take any longer to hang versus your traditional hang-on stand. The only difference between the other hang-on stands that are on the market and our stand is we have the second ratchet strap that you end up installing to be able to move and then connect. So moving it 150 yards, obviously there's the removal of whatever type of climbing stick that you would have, and then lowering the stand down, you move it over to another location, pull it up to that height, and then strap it off. When we ended up coming up with it, we realized that it's not really going to be designed, or it wasn't, or we didn't go after market the day hunter or the hunter that's going in on public land where there's an issue of a long hike in and out of the woods, or a concern with somebody stealing the stand from being left on a public land to where somebody's going to be carrying a stand in and out. Our sweet spot's going to be for that hunter who has that honey hole they've been hunting, or that spot that they've got scouted out and they really want to go in there. And if they do end up seeing the deer moving on a different ridge, they've got the time to move it down and move it to a different location. But really no extra time moving it versus the traditional hang-on stand, other than there's an additional ratchet strap that is being connected.
Thanks for that. And so, listeners, just to reiterate there, this is for where you get complete control of the land. You're not going to get in situations where the state says, hey, you can hunt all you want, but you got to take your stand out every day, or whatever the rules and regulations are. So just remember that when you're thinking about moon stands. And I want to give a shout out right now to Whitetail Stalker, the crew over there, Mike Grandstaff and Justin McCoy, and on and on and on. They're quite a guys, and we're excited about the partnership we've got coming up. So back to you at Moon Stands. Now, talk to me how that has helped you hunt mature bucks on private land.
Well, a couple of the nice features that it's worked really well up there on our farm up there in Kentucky. First thing, in order for us to be able to make the stand wider, we had to eliminate the cable. So all traditional hang-on stands have a cable to go from the upright down to the platform, and that cable supports the platform. So while serving the purpose of supporting the platform, it restricted how wide you could actually make the platform. So getting rid of the cables and having the type of support and technology there to connect the platform that you're standing on to the upright, which is attached to the tree, for our farm up there in Kentucky, specifically, as we're hunting some of those ridges and some of the along the creek bottoms, there's no blind spots behind us. In years past, we might hang a stand and have a deer walking up behind that ridge at 30, 40 yards, and we could just not do anything about it, forced to watch him walk by or watch the doe walk by. Whereas now, if we can get it into a good cover location where we're watching in front of us and we've got some shooting lanes directly behind us, because of not having the cables, having that wider platform, we're now able to shoot 360 degrees around us. So it gives us more shot opportunities that the traditional hang-on stand doesn't offer because of the width. And then from an accuracy standpoint, I know personally for myself, I shoot my bow. I try to shoot every day. There's several days that go by where I'm not shooting, but whenever I am target shooting in the backyard or over at a friend's house or at the range, where it may be, I typically stand with my feet shoulder width distance. And then when we get up in the stand and we're doing that little box shuffle on the traditional hang-on stands, we're moving our feet together. We might be bent over in an unorthodox position that's not our normal shooting form, and we might play around target shooting where we shoot normal 90-95% of the time with our feet shoulder width distance, and then we'll try to simulate being in a tree stand where we're going to be in that unorthodox position. There's no unorthodox positions on our stand. You're shooting 360 degrees with a shoulder width distance. You're not putting your safety at risk because you're having to bend over and put your feet together to try to be able to get the shot. You just can stand and shoot all the way around the tree just by simply just walking over to the side.
No, I hunt ladder stands now because of my age. I'm 70 years old. And I'm wondering, how could we incorporate this in a ladder stand? I'm thinking, okay, get the standard ladder stand, and then you just kick it around the tree both ways, but you get the rails in there. So I'm just thinking, how the heck would this work? Because exactly what you said, I've had bucks come up behind me, and they're on a rub line or a scrape, and I can't shoot at them. You know, it's just, you know, I'm not set up to do it.
Right, and that's a great question. That was one of the things that we're excited most with our tree stand. We haven't revealed the look of it, but we were sharing with everybody there at the ATA show. Our lock-on stand will be the hang-on stand that ages with you. And what I mean by that is typically whenever somebody we did 2 consumer reveal shows in the summer of 2015, and everybody loved it, and that was kind of our temperature gauge to see whether we had something that we wanted to go to market with, whether the consumers were going to purchase it and wanted to hunt, and there was a need for it in the market and in the industry. And the one question that we got from almost every silver-haired buddy that came by was, hey, well, do you have it in a ladder? So we went to the drawing board, and what I mean by it'll be the hang-on that ages with you is individual can purchase it today, and they can use it as a hang-on, but once climbing vertically on the side of the tree is no longer comfortable and you want a little bit of that pitch to where you're able to climb up at an angle to get up inside of the stand, we have a ladder attachment that will mount to the front of the lock-on, and it will turn our lock-on stand into a ladder stand. So you have the same identical platform space. After you lean it up, you connect it to the tree just like you would a lock-on. The only difference is you're now accessing the platform from the front with that ladder attachment.
How high can I go with that?
We're looking at 15. We've got a couple of different versions that we've been tweaking, and we still have to get it tested, but we're looking at rolling that out this upcoming summer. But it'll be between 15 to 16 foot, somewhere in there.
Why don't you put the ladder stand on the side rather than the front?
We looked at doing it on the front just from the installation factor. Whenever you're putting it up there to the tree, unless somebody wanted to hang it as a traditional lock-on stand, then they would be accessing it over on the side. But how it attaches will be on the front.
Okay. And then it's anodized black or whatever.
Yeah, it's powder coated with a black.
All right.
Yep.
And so,
and then
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and for the moving in and out for the transporting or storing before or after hunt season, the upright swings and it tucks nice and neat into the platform up under it. That way it's nice and compact for carrying it in and out of the woods or storing it in your garage or in your shed. So it's not it folds down nice and compact.
If I understand what you just said, the platform folds up beneath the seat and the seat flops down so you can walk or stack or whatever you need to do. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Hey, folks, Bryan's going to give you how to get in touch with him right now. So, Bryan, social media, your website, email, give us the information.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking to get in touch with us, social media, over at Facebook, you can look us up at Moon Stands. Our website online is just moonstands.com. That's moon, MOONSTANDS.com. Or you can call the office 407-304-8380. And all the contact information is there on our website as well as on Facebook. And we're pretty good at responding and communicating with everybody as much as possible, answering questions.
What about your pro staff or field staff? What decisions have been made on building that crew?
We've talked to several TV personalities that are out there, and whether they're established. We've been approached by some of the larger names that are out there. And at this point, what we're doing is we're kind of introducing an ambassador program. We've got a couple of shows that we should be finalizing the details with this here over the next week, 2 weeks, where we'll be able to announce some of the pro staff guys that we're going to be having on board with us. But our official launch was January 9th. So we're right at about 11 days into this, or 13 days into it since our official launch at the ATA show up there in Indianapolis this year.
Well, that's great. I like the term ambassador, because pro staff and field staff in our industry, in my opinion, has gone all over the place. And to change it up a little bit, I think, personally, that's a good thing, because an ambassador really is representing you guys. And your thoughts about how are you going to compensate guys or gals in the ambassador program?
Yeah, what we're doing is we wanted to – tree stand's one of those kind of tough in the industry when we're looking at the different personalities and the shows that are out there. If you're a traveling show, you're typically going out to different outfitters. The outfitters are already going to have tree stands hung. So one week you might be hunting on my stand, next week you might be hunting on one of the competitors. And if you're hanging the stands there on public ground or on your own private ground, you might have stands that are already out there or that you're already used to hanging. We didn't want to kind of limit what people already have out there. What we want to do is get people that really believe in the product and what it does from a safety stance of not having the cables getting in and out of it to potentially trip you up. That's the number one reason why you typically see a hang on stand fail, is those cables snapping as well. And then being able to stand in a nice shorter width stance is going to put you in a lot safer position. So the individuals that are hunting off of the stands because they believe in it and then they're talking about it, we've got a nice program to where we've got discount on our merchandise on our stands. We don't have any shipping charges on that. And then we have a program set up to where they're compensated based on the traffic that we're driving in. And then they're not restricted to what other stands that they hunt off of, because we understand that our stand's not going to be the do-all, end-all, best stand. There's no such thing as the perfect stand out there. If that was the case, there'd only be one company. So with there being specific needs, whether somebody needs a climber or if they need that day stand that's the lighter weight, that they're only going to go hunt for today over on this ridge, and then they're going to bring their stand back out. Wanted the individuals that are partnering up with us to also be able to articulate that to the consumers and to the people that they're communicating with on a day-to-day, or whether it's through their social media, but to tell them, hey, look, this is a great product for that specific need, just like a climber's good for being mobile and being able to put it up, take it out, a light walk on. So that was the purpose and the mindset behind the ambassador program. The individuals that believe in it and can articulate why the stand is appropriate, where, for what applications, are the individuals that will end up benefit from it. And kind of being in the industry for a year myself, not knowing the intricacies with the other manufacturers and how all that works, we wanted to make sure that the shows that we were partnering up with believed in our product and believed in what we were doing, and they would be the ones that would be compensated because of that.
Appreciate that. Let's kick it off. We got about 10 minutes left in the show, and talk about your hunting land in Kentucky and give some people insights, because I know Whitetail Heaven has really kicked out some big bucks this year up there in Kentucky, and so talk to us about that farm and talk to us about how you hold mature bucks on your land.
Our farm that we've got up there in Kentucky, we're just outside of London, Kentucky. So we're central south. We're not on the east or the west side. We're more in the center of the state, more towards the south. We're only about 40 miles north of Tennessee. And we've got some great bucks and the potential up there. We've had some 170s and some 180s that have been harvested over the years. And it's one of those crazy things with farming farming deer, so to speak, where you're trying to get them to where they're being held up on your land and you get good daytime opportunities at them. And our neighboring property, a gentleman over there, just every year just has phenomenal success, not just with sightings, but he harvests a good buck every year. And several of those bucks we've actually have on trail camera every day or every day of the while they're growing their antlers, and it never fails. They're 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So we've got the bedding, we've got the water, we've got good food sources from putting in different food plots and planting crops in there for them to eat. But their primary bedding is about 150 yards off of our property that we end up hunting. We've got about just over 200 acres that we hunt there in Kentucky, and the neighbor behind us has the master bedroom. So we're pretty restricted to being out there and hunting it hard when the rut comes around, and that's when we end up seeing having a lot more success when it comes to the bucks running around.
So what's the agreement with your neighbor? Do you have any agreement with him at all?
Oh, no. He's a nice individual that's in his mid-80s, and it's his way or the highway, so he's a great guy.
Thank you very much. And rolling along on that one. Hey, talk to us.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, he's a good hunter, that's for sure.
So talk to us about being a 365-day-a-year hunter.
Oh, man, it's waking up in the morning, getting to talk about it, and going to sleep, planning the next hunt. This past season, got opportunity to go out to Colorado myself up there and Unit 61 for my very first elk hunt, and traveling around, or 62. I said, going out to Colorado, Unit 62 for my first elk hunt, and going up to Maine and doing some black bear hunts up there. It's nothing like it, just getting up and close, taking my bow and arrow out there, whether I've got my Black Widow recurve, my Centaur archery longbow, if I'm shooting my Matthews, just being out there in the woods, watching the sun come up, watching it go down, and trying to outwit these intelligent animals that we're on their terms, on their ground. And each day you learn from what you didn't do correctly or what you did do right, and trying to go out and do that a little bit better the next time that you're out there in the woods. So it's exciting.
Now,
it's definitely a game of chess.
Oh, it definitely is. Now, when you're mixing it up with mature bucks, in your mind, what's a mature buck?
In my mind, a mature buck is one that lived long enough to have antlers on top of his head. Growing up in Central Florida, the hunting pressure is crazy. A lot of people who have never hunted in Florida, you're allowed to, on public land, you can shoot a buck a day. On private land, you can shoot 2 bucks a day. Hunting season starts in mid-July down in South Florida, and it goes all the way up until the end of February up in the Panhandle. So there's just over 8 months of hunting season, and the amount of pressure on public land is something that makes the deer smarter at a very young age. So mature buck isn't necessarily isn't the antlers that are on top of their head. I've had deer that were a year and a half, 2.5 years old that were in Florida that were smarter. I remember my very first trip to Wisconsin, and I looked at the guide up there in Buffalo County, and I told him, I said, these deer, I said, it's like I'm cheating. I said, these deer have no sense of the human interaction that's coming out in the woods. They use their nose to smell, but it was almost like I was cheating whenever I was sitting up there in that tree stand up there in Buffalo County, Wisconsin, or when I'm in Pike County, Illinois, or down there in White County, Illinois, down on the southeast side, hunting Midwest deer. They have bigger antlers. Body-wise, they're a lot bigger, but it's because of the genetics that are there. But from a mature or a wood smart standpoint, I 100% believe from hunting, successfully harvesting deer in Buffalo County, Wisconsin, Pike County, Illinois, down in White County, shooting deer all over the Midwest, and then hunting deer down in the Southeast. If you can successfully, year after year, hunt a very high pressure deer, and it's probably the same way up on private or public ground in the Midwest. But if you can successfully harvest a buck on public ground, that's a mature deer. The antlers, you can't eat them. Growing up, my dad used to always say, and he still says to this day, they stop growing when you shoot them, and you can't barbecue them, bake them, wrap them in bacon, or you can't eat them. So my definition of a mature buck is going to be different based on the region and the land that I'm hunting on.
Thanks for that, Bryan. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to give you a chance to do a shout out. So, if you want to, the people you hunt with Buffalo County, Pike County, White County, or other places that you've gone and enjoyed, please do that because they'll appreciate it. That's for sure. So one more thing, and how do you personally prepare for hunting season? Then we'll wrap the show.
Well, preparing for hunting season is with me thinking about it and pretty much living with it every day. It's grabbing the gear and rolling out, whether it's the camera equipment or if it's loading up the bow for whatever particular trip that we're going on, or if I'm going to South Carolina to go hunting. But as far as for preparation, being physically and more mentally prepared for what type of hunt that I'm going on is probably the most important, and kind of pre-walking myself through what elements I'm going to be walking into and what I need helps me prepare physically for going out there, but more importantly, mentally. That way you can stay focused and at the task at hand and make sure that we end up coming home safe.
And thanks for that. We're at the time in the show that you give a chance to give shout outs to your dad, your brother, your family, the people involved in Moon Stands, and anybody else you want. So the mic's yours.
All right. Well, appreciate the time. Enjoyed being on the show here. I'd like to thank my dad. Without his thought and foresight and seeing the need for a stand to be able to shoot 360 degrees and then doing the engineering and figuring out how to make this a reality, we wouldn't be having the conversation today. So a lot of thanks to him. Tanner Patton has been trailing around chasing me with a camera and with a bow for the last year and a half. Can't thank him enough for all the help and on the showing on the hunting side of it, as well as with the Moon Stands, getting that up and running, and enjoy getting up there in the Midwest hunting, whether we're up there with our buddy Andrew goose hunting in Illinois, or if it's Buffalo County Outfitters with Joel Artis. We've been down there with John Campbell with Campbell Illinois Whitetails down there in Carmi. Just enjoyed getting around. Over there in Western Kentucky with Elijah Stewart with Western Kentucky Buck Company. Got a great outfit and a lot of really nice deer over there. But just can't thank everybody that I've been able to communicate and just spend time in the woods and in camp with over the last 2-3 years as we're getting Moon Stands up and to the point where we're at today. Actually traveling down the road to go show it off to a couple consumer shows out in the Midwest right now. Yeah, I can't
wait till we connect up in Des Moines at Iowa Deer Classic coming in March. I truly look forward to doing that and hanging out with you guys, because I love bringing new equipment, new thoughts, new strategies to Whitetail Rendezvous throughout North America. So on behalf of thousands of listeners across North America, Bryan Richey, thank you so much for bringing Moon Stand to the market and being a guest on Whitetail Rendezvous. Stay tuned for the next episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. We're going to head over to Missouri and connect with Andy Hicks. Andy Hicks is a young man that loves to hunt bucks. He loves to share the outdoors through Central Missouri Outdoors on Facebook. What are you going to learn by listening to Andy? You're going to learn what it takes to make setups for mature buck.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.